Hey guys, what's up? I'm here with a review of, well, before I can get into that, I have to bring up something very serious. The other day I learned of another great loss in the horror community. This one, very much in the vein of our loss of Herschel Lewis in September, but this legendary cult horror filmmaker has gone unnoticed. His death has gone unnoticed, and it is very, very, very sad. Legendary cult filmmaker Ted V. Michaels passed away October 16th. I did not know of this until the other day when I was just looking around and I saw a movie that apparently he was listed as director, and I had to look it up, and I checked, and upon checking, he did indeed direct this film, and he did indeed pass away. So in honor of his memory, I will be covering that movie tonight. Tonight's movie is a supernatural drama horror film from 2015, Ted V. Michaels' second to last movie. Apparently he was working on a sequel to his movie 10 Deadly Women, which he made that movie in like the 70s, I think. He was working on a sequel to that before he died, but his most recent movie that has been released to the public, which is Paranormal Extremes. I apologize. Paranormal Extreme. Son of a bitch. Paranormal Extremes Text Messages from the Dead. Now, before I get to the plot of this movie, I have to bring something up. I will admit, I'm not, as familiar with Ted V. Michaels' work as I am with Herschel Lewis's work. I will say this, I do own, and I have watched multiple times, his classic film, The Corpse Grinders, which is really, really terrible, but it's also very, very fun. And I did indeed go on to purchase and watch his long-awaited sequel to The Corpse Grinders, which came out 30 years after the fact, Corpse Grinders 2, which is easily one of the worst movies I've ever seen. So I know that Ted V. Michaels is considered to be a pretty bad filmmaker, and I honestly don't expect much from this, because I've seen something from him that was really fun and cheesy, and I've seen something from him that was absolutely horrific. I don't know what to expect. I hope I'll get something out of this movie, and I hope maybe I can appreciate Ted V. Michaels more. I'm definitely going to go. I'm definitely gonna. Fucking Christ, those dogs. I'm definitely gonna go out and probably buy some of his movies, some of his older ones and some of his recent ones, just so I could get more familiar with his work. Out of respect for him as a filmmaker, because I do absolutely adore The Corpse Grinders as a very fun, kind of cheesy schlock flick. So, without further ado, let's watch Paranormal Extremes, Text Messages from the Dead. So I bet you're wondering what I thought of Paranormal Extremes, Text Messages from the Dead. It's actually not that bad, honestly. So, basically, this movie has to do with a couple who, after the kind of fiance, the woman's fiance gets in a car accident, he dies, and not even death can keep them apart as they kind of text each other from beyond the grave, is basically the plot of this movie. And also the main character realizes she has psychic powers. So, This movie opens up with a couple in Vegas, and it looks like somebody's videos they shot on vacation. And there's this sexy kind of goth fortune teller chick who gives the main character her number for no reason. And then the credits start, and Ted V. Michaels makes a cameo in the movie, and he seems like such a kind, full of life, just really nice guy. Him just showing up in the movie. Him showing up doesn't make any sense other than a sudden reveal once he leaves the scene that he's actually a ghost, which makes watching this whole scene, as well as this whole movie, a lot more eerie. That and the fact that Ted V. Michaels passed away due to complications with colon cancer, which he might have been having trouble with when making this movie, which is also, again, that is very creepy. The main character then is a model, apparently, and she goes to get a tarot card reading from the kind of sexy goth fortune teller chick. Really, that's like the first 10 minutes in a nutshell. Not even the first 10 minutes, that's like the first 5 minutes in a nutshell. Basically, in this movie, the acting is atrocious. Same with the writing. The camera work is boring, and it's really just not that good. Same with the lighting. The lighting isn't that good either. Even from a technical standpoint, this movie's pretty bad. The editing is bad. It feels like a really cheap home movie. But at the same time, it feels like Ted V. Michaels was really trying when he made this. Trying to make a serious film on no budget at all. It is a cheap movie with bad effects and editing and acting, but at the same time, it's nowhere near as bad as Terror Toons 3 or A Halloween Puppy or Corpse Grinders 2. Those films have had no real effort or heart put into them. This one felt like they were trying, which makes it a lot more charming. It has more charm to it than a lot of big budget horror films today. And it makes me hard to hate this movie. It's hard for me to honestly just hate this movie, even if it is absolutely atrocious from every standpoint. The characters are flat and lifeless. Nothing makes any sense half the time. And there's this weird fedora-wearing paranormal investigator who shows up once in the movie and then is never featured in the film ever again. The film is ultra low budget, but again, there's something about it. It has heart, it's charming, it has integrity. It makes it hard for me to hate it simply for its badness and its cheapness, and the kind of cheap way it was made. It isn't the most interesting no-budget horror film around, but and it's not boring. It's not really boring or bad enough even to get mad at, like I did with Terror Toons 3 or Melancholy der Angla. It bored me, but it didn't bore me to death. There's no gore or nudity in this film at all. It's mainly just people sitting around talking. And take that as you will. There are people who say that is the true essence of cinema. There are others that say that that is the death of cinema. Either way, I will admit it does have some really great, hilarious scenes, such as the only scene with this paranormal fedora-wearing investigator who shows up once and then, like I said, never appears again in the entire movie, as well as this really weird, off-the-wall dream sequence with like Suspiria lighting and people in monster masks. There's this team of paranormal investigators in the movie who are obviously supposed to be like the ghost hunters, the ghost adventure guys, and they're like obviously like just faking everything. They got people in costumes for the episodes and stuff, and they just like Photoshop orbs over top of bugs flying in front of the camera. If there's one complaint I have, it is probably the runtime. This movie is, for having no budget and really nothing going on, it would help to cut the film down a bit, at least by 20 or 30 minutes. It does not need to be 102 minutes long. This movie does not need to be that long. And the ending, I'll be honest, confused me quite a bit, and it just felt kind of out of left field, and just didn't really make sense, but it's all whatever. As you can tell, this movie was bad. It's terrible, but it's not as bad as I expected it to be, and at the same time, it has heart. And I'm repeating myself again, but it does have all these things. It has heart, it has integrity. You can feel that Ted was really trying to make a good film here. And after watching this, I'm definitely gonna have to watch some more of his stuff. So, I don't really think that I can give it a rating or even recommend it at all. If you're interested, you can go ahead and watch it. It's on YouTube. It's on Hulu Prime, or not Hulu Prime, but Amazon Prime streaming. It's on there, and I can't even give this film a rating. Not because it's so bad or because it's just like too good for a rating. It's just I can't. I don't know whether to rate it like give it a decent rating, because it at least wasn't like unwatchably make me fucking want to kill everybody terrible, but at the same time I don't want to give it a decent rating. I want to kind of give it a bad rating because it is still a very badly made, cheap movie. So I'm just going to leave it at, if you're interested, go ahead and watch it. And as for Ted V. Michaels himself, may he rest in peace. It is a goddamn shame that a director like him, I mean, he's no Kubrick, but it's a shame that, you know, at least horror fans were, at least there was a big wave in the horror community when somebody like Herschel Gordon Lewis passed. I mean, sure, he created the splatter film, but I'll be honest, not a lot of people in the mainstream horror community know who Lewis was. And it's the same with Michaels. Michaels, I feel like, is even more obscure than Lewis. But it bothers me that not even amongst cult film groups on Facebook that I'm in did I hear anything about this film, or did not hear anything about this film, but hear anything about Michaels' death. And it really just, it breaks my heart, almost. All I'm going to say, and I will repeat myself again, is God rest his soul. I mean, I may not be a religious man, but God rest him. And, you know, he will live on forever through the hearts of trash film fans everywhere. I'm Biscuit Boo. Horror Reviews, signing off. Peace.